predicting the Money in the Bank 2025 card and winners. I'm Will, that's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers, talk about some wrestling, huh?
Yeah, Money in the Bank, kind of, I was thinking about this, kind of the PLE of opportunity. Nice little rhyme there. Pretty much, what does the future look like? It kind of impacts these main titles more than we kind of let on, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Money in the Bank's a big one at this point, and hopefully they don't squander whatever they do like they did last year when they have somebody cash in night one, but that's neither here nor there. But it's sneaking up on us quick.
What about a couple nights after?
Yeah, or a couple nights after. We'll get into that a little bit, I guess. But Saturday Night Main Event next weekend. And so we were like, screw it, we're going to look past Saturday Night Main Event and do this. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, follow, all that good stuff. Let's get into it. I want to start with what you just said. We each have like 4 matches and then the Money in the Bank matches, of course. But let's get into it. On Monday, we figured out Jey Uso is, or I guess not Jey Uso, the winner of Jey Uso and Logan Paul. God, please let it be Jey Uso at Saturday Night Main Event. Will fight Gunther on the Raw after Money in the Bank. So we're assuming Jay's going to win that thing. Does that mean Jey Uso's missing Money in the Bank?
Yes, I believe so. I think Jey Uso is going to be off on this one. You might get an appearance. You might get a little yeet. Just a little, like a couple minute yeet, and that's probably it from Jey Uso. Don't think you get Jey Uso on this one. Just because of the fact that he is going to be defending the Monday right after, and the fact he's on the Saturday night main event, which is okay. That's fine. That's no big deal. I feel bad for the people that are going to be there because it's always fun when Jay's there and he comes out and yeets, but I think he's missing out on this one. Really kind of focus and drive home that, hey, I got to defend against Gunther on Monday. I gotta be focused, basically.
Yeah, I don't think we need him either. It'll be okay. Considering that we have 2 Money in the Bank matches and a John Cena appearance, so I don't think there's gonna be Jey Uso there anyways either. And let's go on to that too before we get into our matches. John Cena is scheduled to appear at Money in the Bank, but he's also rumored to be in a match at Saturday Night Main Event, which is 2 weeks prior to with R-Truth. So there's not much story going into it, and we're not even seeing John till Saturday Night Main Event. So do we think John's going to have a match at Money in the Bank, or do we think that's just going to be sort of like an appearance and set up to the next?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really much just depends on, do you think Jay's going to be there? Because if Jay's there, then I think John's off it. But I think John is going to be there. You got to have one of your 2 main card titles be there. So I think John actually has a match here. I have him in my predictions here.
Yeah, okay. I did not have my predictions, but what I did see right before this was Wrestle Votes, or I might be screwing that up. One of the reputable Twitter accounts is saying that might be the event that we get the Travis Scott John Cena team up at. So I don't know about that one, but let's get into it.
It is interesting because you got it sandwiched. As a whole, Money in the Bank is going to be interesting because you've got it sandwiched right after Saturday Night Main Event, where there's no real build minus your Money in the Bank matches. And then you got a long time until SummerSlam. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do that.
Yeah, my kind of prediction on it, if you wanted to do anything, was you could have John Cena come out after the men's Money in the Bank winner, and then maybe set up whoever wins that and just kind of like allude to a cash in at some point down the line. I don't really know, but the Travis Scott stuff sounds like something.
Sounds laughable as you're laughing about it. Laughable to me.
Sounds like something. Let's get into the matches. We each wanted to have 4 matches and then two Money in the Banks, obviously. Let's bookend them, just kind of like how the show would. Let's start with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Who do you got in it?
Yeah, so in it, I have Roxanne.
Okay.
Chelsea Green.
Okay.
I got Naomi, Julia, Alexa Bliss, and Liv Morgan. Went kind of back and forth on Liv Morgan. Thought maybe potentially Charlotte Flair, honestly. But when you look at the breakdown, I know they like to have the 3 from Raw, the 3 from SmackDown equally there. So I went ahead. I put Liv in there, I should say. The tag team titles aren't going to be on the card. At least they're not on my card. I don't know who they'd go against. So put Liv in there. Why not give her an opportunity here? I feel like those women are going to just put on an absolute show here. So I went with kind of like the hottest, most momentum women here in terms of Naomi phenomenal stuff. Roxanne and Julia, phenomenal. Everybody wants Alexa Bliss to be on screen. Well, Liv's been the MVP. And then, of course, you have Chelsea Green, who's unexplainably losing the women's U.S. title, I would say. So for me, it's like, well, she kind of has to lose that for a reason. So that's why I put her in there.
I didn't have Chelsea Green in mind.
Wow.
I know. It's absolutely crazy.
Wow.
I did what you did, though. I split it up 3-3. I went SmackDown 3, Raw 3. I did have Naomi in there. I did have Alexa Bliss in there, but my other SmackDown, I'm going to throw Jade in there. I just think that the Naomi Jade stuff it doesn't look to be done anytime soon, and you need to have some sort of rivalry within the Money in the Bank match, so I think that can carry the rivalry there. And then on the Raw side, I do have Julia, I do have Roxanne Perez, and I do have Miss Liv Morgan. I think that those are just shoo-ins for it at this point. Most people don't care about Liv's tag team championship anyways. They'd rather her be around the world title scene as is, and the Money in the Bank briefcase gets you around the world title scene, right? And then Julia and Roxanne, obviously, they're looking like they're going to be the up-and-comers on Raw for the foreseeable future, and they should be. So, With that said, though, who do you think is going to win the women's Money in the Bank ladder match?
Yeah, and I guess before I make that pick, you talk about like the rivalry to kind of carry that.
Yeah.
I have that in my head, at least, being Roxanne and Julia with a little bit of like the teased breakup. We didn't get the job done sort of thing. Why not? That would be super awesome. As for my winner here, going Naomi on this one. I feel like Naomi just kind of makes sense. She's, like I said, probably got the most momentum in her WWE career as of now. Character's super interesting. She also has seeds planted with multiple women on the roster, with Tiffany, with Jade, obviously, Bianca potentially, if that is down the road. So I think Naomi just kind of makes a whole lot of sense here. Plus, it'd be really cool if we get like a caution taped briefcase. I always like the theme briefcases. So give me that. Give me Naomi.
Yeah, I went with Naomi as well. I would also like to see Roxanne Perez win it if we are going to get Naomi involved in the title scene without the Money in the Bank briefcase, which looks like it could happen because right now Naomi, Jade, and Nia are all kind of circling that briefcase at the moment. So if they do not give it to Naomi, who I think they should go the route of somebody young, somebody new to the roster, and giving them a whole year to sort of build themselves up and hopefully cash in down the line and maybe even successfully. And I think Roxanne screams that name. She's been getting some good matches here on Raw over the past few weeks. Obviously, her NXT career stands on its own 2 feet by itself. So Naomi or Roxanne, in my opinion, but if I had to book it, I'm giving it to Naomi. Let's move on, though. You want to go first on your matches? We obviously did not show each other our matches per usual. 4 matches apiece. Winner.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, like I said, a little bit of like a clouded, I don't really know. I think there's a couple things you could maybe pencil in. You're like, yeah, that makes sense here. I will say before I get into, I guess, the first match, I really wanted to put a Solo Sikoa, Jeff Cobb versus Fatu and somebody, but I really had a tough time being like, who is that somebody? The only thing in my head was like, well, Roman Reigns, but like obviously it's Roman Reigns, so like, of course, doesn't make any sense in terms of he's not going to show up to work anyway, so like not doing that. But that would be kind of like a seed planting thing maybe, but they maybe don't even need a match to keep that going. So my first match that I wrote down, I put Tiffany Stratton defending her title against Jade Cargill.
Ooh.
So I think Tiffany versus Nia probably happens at Saturday Night Main Event. We'll find out. We'll see, I guess, or maybe later down the line, but to me, they've had Jade around the title so often. She's holding it up so often. She's interacting with Tiffany and with Nia and with Naomi, kind of that whole quartet of women. Plus, Jade she's improved in the ring a lot. You might be like, where's the character development a little bit? She's phenomenal in the ring, so I think right now that kind of carries her a little bit. So give me Jade versus Tiffany in a match that really kind of showcases both of their abilities. I think the match would be phenomenal. And I don't think Tiffany's really losing that title anytime soon. So it's one of those things that like, okay, she can kind of get a stamp of approval here and she can defeat Jade and then go on to something else.
I thought about putting Tiffany on my card, but I don't have her on it. Obviously, I put Jade in my Money in the Bank match, so I don't have them fighting at all. I just don't know. At the moment, we don't know when the Nia Jax Tiffany Stratton Championship match is happening. And for me, that should 100% be on Saturday Night Main Event. We already know it's happening. They already have the story. They need to get a women's title match on to Saturday Night Main Event because we didn't have one the previous PLE either, so it needs to happen at some point. So I have Tiffany fighting Nia at Saturday Night Main Event, meaning she skips this one.
Mm-hmm.
I did have a women's title match, though. I have two here. I'll go with the first one. I had the women's intercontinental title rematch between Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch. And this is the PLE where I think Bayley comes back and gets involved with it, setting up something big for the rumored Evolution, or you can go further or go and just say SummerSlam, right? So that's the match that I have as my mid-card women's match on this. I just think that Becky's doing phenomenal work. Lyra's going to come back. That's totally not done. So do it here. Do it right.
Yeah, I'm glad you say that because I put that word for word. I put that match in there, and then I put Bayley return as well.
Bam.
I don't think it's going to be at Evolution. I feel like they're going to save that for a SummerSlam. I feel like there's so many kind of moving parts because then you like kind of have to still address Bayley versus Lyra as well, in addition to the Becky attacking Bayley and the great work that Becky's doing as well. So I think they're going to do that for SummerSlam. I mean, a triple threat with those three at SummerSlam just screams like, hey, give me a major four, a big four PLE feel. So I would say push that to SummerSlam, especially because we don't even know with Evolution yet. Is it happening? Is it rumored? What day is it? Like, we don't really know the logistics of that. So it's really hard to kind of book matches for that when I don't even know when it is.
Yeah. I'm completely with you, and I'm just while you were going through my head, big time PLE, big time match. Where you're talking about SummerSlam and it's the first 2-night SummerSlam, so we're gonna have big time matches. I did write down Io Sky and Rhea Ripley squaring off here at Money in the Bank. I just feel like that there's not going to be a big time title match other than this one that's being set up because I don't see Cena defending. Jay's obviously not going to defend with Gunther right there down the line. And I just gave my reasoning for why Tiffany Stratton isn't going to defend. So I had Rhea Ripley and Io Sky on this card. But now that I'm thinking about the 2-day SummerSlam, I don't know if it's going to be there. But it feels like at the moment that's definitely going to happen after what happened on Raw. And I don't know if they're going to delay it all the way out to SummerSlam.
Yeah, I have that on my card as well. So I guess it would be
three women's matches?
Three
Four,
women's matches. Three, yeah. But I'm giving the women some shine here. They need it. You look at that in terms of like the storyline in terms of what is it? It's the middle of May. So you look potentially pushing it all the way out to SummerSlam. That's a really long time. Yeah. So the Io and Rhea stuff, we talked a little bit about it with the Rhea and Liv stuff. There was a lot of fatigue there. Well, we've already kind of been building Rhea and Io before Mania. Obviously, Bianca was in there as well. So my main worry is if you push that to SummerSlam, everybody's going to get tired of it. How long can you drag that along until SummerSlam? So I think it does end up happening here. Now, there may be a wonky finish. There may not be. Who knows? There may be a return of some sort. Maybe an Asuka, maybe a Kairi Sane, maybe something like that. But I think you got to have these two on the card. I feel like, I mean, they're so good. They're so top tier. They're so over. Both of them are that it's like, it's kind of like Jey Uso. You look at it and you're like, well, kind of would suck not having them on the card. So I have it here. More than anything, just dragging that out to me wouldn't be enjoyable.
Well, I think dragging it out, you would risk the switch up in people liking the story because you would risk the, falling back into the norm of like Rhea showing up and just kind of clearing shop. Like I don't want to see, Rhea and Io just beat up on Julia and Roxanne for the next 2 months. That'd be too much for me. There's not really anybody else lined up on the Raw roster for that to be, for them to change that scenario up. It feels like right now they finally captured a Rhea Ripley story that most people are like, yeah, that works, right? They're equals now. They, let's square off and figure out who's best. It finally feels like we're back to people being like on the side of the Rhea story. So, booking yourself to where you're going to drag it out for 2 more months just feels like, ooh, you might risk it, bro. You might blow what you got.
Yeah, exactly. And that, like, people like it right now, I feel like, because it wasn't shoved down our throats for so long, that it was like her and Io teaming up against the fresh new faces, right? And that was awesome. That was great. I know there's been some thoughts thrown around about them maybe being in a tag match versus Liv and Raquel. I just don't see 3 of the top women being in a tag match at Money in the Bank. So I feel like this is the route you got to go, which I don't know what they would do for either one of them. Like whoever loses it, like what do they do at SummerSlam? I don't know. So who knows? Maybe Asuka costs Io, and maybe you have just Asuka versus Io at SummerSlam, just a standalone match.
But if Asuka costs Rhea,
well, there's that too. Yeah,
we're gonna be headbutting our way right back into SummerSlam. I mean,
triple threat.
Book it. Predicting the SummerSlam match. I threw a dumb match on here.
Come.
I'll come clean. I booked 5 matches because I thought of this one match and I was like, I would love for it to happen. And story wise, I think it could actually happen on the card, but I'm not going to bank on it. I have Dirty Dom Mysterio teaming with El Grande Americano to take on Penta and Rey Fenix. I think it's time. It's been very rumored that WWE is wanting to go ahead and pull the trigger on getting the Lucha Bros together in the WWE, which would obviously be great. Chad Gable. Sorry, I don't know why Chad Gable. I must have been thinking about Chad Gable.
You call yourself a professional.
I must have been thinking about Chad Gable for some reason. I don't know. But El Grande has been sticking his nose into this whole storyline, right? He showed up at Backlash. He cost Penta, got Dom the win. Dom on Monday night comes out to Finn and says, "Hey, bro, you screwed the pooch. Thank God El Grande was there, or else I might have lost this title." So it looks like you could easily write this into a tag team, and then the whole question is, who's Penta's partner? Who's Penta's partner? Well, I mean, come on. The most logical situation here is to say, "Hey, Rey Fenix, come on over for a night. Let's get this thing done." So I think they should book that match, and I think it'd be phenomenal.
Yeah, and with these kind of like chaotic cross-branded Money in the Banks, right? Like other PLEs, I know they're all cross-branded, but like most of the PLEs, you're like, okay, Raw, like there's dividing lines, right? Like, okay, this is a Raw match, this is a SmackDown match. Money in the Bank to me has like a different feel, so it's like it's kind of like a wild card. So it's like, yeah, that would be awesome. I don't have, I guess Penta in a tag match. I do have him on my card though.
Yeah.
You just spoke like amazing words to me, like you're speaking some foreign language that I'm like, speak to me.
I don't know why Chad Gable got in there. I apologize. I don't know why.
That match is, I mean, that would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
You would want to see that match. It'd be match of the night. I think a lot of people would enjoy that match, even if it is a goofy match.
Yeah. Is the only thing you have left your ladder?
I got one more match.
Oh shit. Okay, me too.
I mentioned him already. John Cena. Now the hard part is I sat there staring at my phone like, man, who am I going to have John Cena face? How am I going to do this sort of thing? I haven't faced Drew McIntyre. So I haven't faced Drew McIntyre because, look, in a perfect world, CM Punk, Money in the Bank would have made a lot of sense, would have made a hell of a lot of sense, and you could do the callbacks and the throwbacks, and you wrap a pretty little bow on that. Well, that's not going to happen. Punk's in his own stuff. That feels rushed. It feels weird. How do you get that? How do you transition all that stuff? So I have versus Drew McIntyre. Like you said, Cena may or may not be around a ton of time around this, right? I don't exactly know the confirmed dates, right? McIntyre's shown his ability to carry a feud on his own with his opponent not being there. He's talked a little bit about John Cena over and over and over and over again. I know he's kind of tied up in some Damian Priest stuff, but at the end of the day, you could just have him attack Priest and that's that. And he can just go do something else. I really want to see Drew McIntyre versus John Cena sometime on the Farewell Tour. This would be really cool to me. John's not losing the title either way. Drew doesn't lose any stock anytime he loses. It's Drew McIntyre. So at the end of the day, I was like, yeah, I want to see this match. Just throw it on here.
I don't have John Cena in a title match at Money in the Bank, but I wrote down a couple options. Drew McIntyre was number one. Most people are going to say CM Punk. CM Punk, it writes itself. It's history. Guys, we want to see more than a 2-week build-up to a John Cena CM Punk final match. It's not going to happen there. They have a 2-night SummerSlam coming up. That's where you want to do that match, if anything, correct? McIntyre makes sense because you really don't need much of a build. He did so much good work talking smack on the internet before Elimination Chamber, and he was right. He was right. Story writes himself there. And then the way that John Cena's winning is, how does he do it? He screws the people. He screws the people over. Bingo, that builds exactly into Drew McIntyre's story. He gets screwed again, points to something again. So it just makes a lot of sense. So if John Cena does end up fighting at Money in the Bank and defending that title, I feel like it's got to be Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, and you talked a little bit about Drew's social media work. Don't get me wrong, it's some of the best in the game, but we don't really talk a little bit about John Cena's social media work. Like John Cena also does some pretty good stuff on social media. So like you said, the SummerSlam, that's the show that Punk needs to face Cena at. That's the show, the stadium show, the big time. I put it on the night 2 main event. Give that to me. Sign me up. It also is like, well, he kind of defeats Drew McIntyre and then he goes on to CM Punk. Well, CM Punk beat Drew McIntyre. So if you look at like the rational like hierarchy thing of thing, like he's just continuing to kind of topple the giants, I guess.
Yeah, it'd be perfect. It'd be such a good match too.
And you need somebody, that can really carry.
Drew would,
because Cena can't carry.
Drew would tower over him. No one has ever made John Cena look that small. It'd be nuts. Anyway, let's get to
Big Show, huh? Big Show never.
Well, you know what I mean.
Wow.
I mean, big people.
Undertaker, never.
Okay, the Undertaker. Undertaker.
That's what I have. One-on-one with the Undertaker.
He pops up at Money in the Bank. Speaking of Money in the Bank ladder match, men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Who do we have? I guess you went first on the women's, so I'll go ahead and take it on the men's. This is hard.
Is it?
Yeah, this was hard for me.
The participants or the winner?
The participants. Well, and I sat there for a while changing up names, mixing names out because, you'll get there.
I would bet money I got 5 out of the 6 participants. There's one that I'm like, eh.
Oh, I guess I have to preface it. I did have one other match on there. I had Sami Zayn versus Seth Rollins in a one-on-one match. If nothing big happens at Saturday Night Main Event, and we get some crazy Sami turn, which we may, which would be awesome in my opinion. But if we don't, I do think that Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins fight in a one-on-one match because I think the only person involved in that whole thing is going to be Braun Breaker in the Money in the Bank ladder match. So I have Braun Breaker in there alongside Ludwig Kaiser because on Monday Night Raw it looked like he was about to talk about being in it before the Jey Uso attack. So I have Braun Breaker, Ludwig Kaiser, CM Punk, Aleister Black, LA Knight, and Rusev. That's who I have.
Oh. Yeah, I don't really have... Yeah, we went completely different routes on this one.
I think Aleister Black needs to be in it, brand new. Get him close to... that's as close as to the title scene as you want a new guy that quickly. It's a good thing. Rusev can look really good against people that aren't the alpha babes, which is necessary. LA Knight has been, in the top 2 of people every single year for the last few years and getting the Money in the Bank briefcase. And then Ludwig Kaiser, the only reason I put him in there was because of the Raw stuff. It looked like he was about to declare for a match or some sort. That guy you can probably toss out. I'm not sure. I like Kaiser, but if you're going to, get one out of my list, I'd put him. And then I think CM Punk and Braun Breaker are going to be the favorites to win this thing.
Okay. Well, my entrance here, let's go SmackDown side. I got LA Knight.
Yeah.
I got Aleister Black.
Yeah.
I have Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah.
Carmelo Hayes is the one I'm unsure about. I might take him out. I might put Rey Fenix in there.
Ooh.
So those 3, I think those 3 to 4 are really who's fighting for those 3 spots. The Raw side. The side I think the winner comes from. I have Penta. I got Braun Breaker. And I got the internet darling right now. I got Karrion Kross in there.
Oh, that'd be great.
I have to put Karrion Kross in there.
That'd be great.
You're at number 1, number 3, depending on the week in terms of merch sales. The internet push for Karrion Kross. We talk about give somebody opportunity. It'd be really cool to give Karrion Kross the briefcase, him and Scarlett coming out. You can still slowly build stuff for Kross if he does get that. So I put Karrion Kross in there as well. If you look at the 6 men that I have in here, I think there's really only 2 that can win. I think it's Braun Breaker and I think it's Karrion Kross. I went ahead. I gave it to Karrion Kross. I thought about Braun Breaker. I thought about the story with Seth and the cashing in and all that good stuff. I decided I got Braun Breaker winning the Rumble next year. I got Braun Breaker doing that then. He doesn't really need the briefcase, right? He doesn't really need to carry that around. Braun Breaker walks out. You see Braun Breaker, you're like, oh, that's a big son of a gun. He's going to take everybody out. He's going to run full speed. So I'm giving it to Karrion Kross. It's probably more of a go with my heart pick, but that's who I'm going with.
Ooh, I would love Karrion Kross to win it. In terms of who should win the Money in the Bank this year, I think it comes down to Braun Breaker and CM Punk. Yes, I know CM Punk's an old man who has won the Money in the Bank beforehand and all that good stuff, but I think there's 2 story routes you can go directly into SummerSlam. You can go Braun Breaker winning it and him having the Money in the Bank briefcase while being behind Seth Rollins is instantly interesting, especially with Jey Uso fighting Gunther the Monday night afterward, right? That's crazy. And then you could also go the route of CM Punk, which would be the easiest way to get him right to John Cena for SummerSlam, because he could be like, look, John, I respect you enough to just look you in the eye, say, I'm cashing this in. Let's do this one more time. Let's main event the first ever 2-night SummerSlam in WWE history. I'm cashing in on that night for your belt. So I think you either go the long route with Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins stuff with him winning the Money in the Bank, or CM Punk. And honestly, I think they may play it safe, go CM Punk, set that story up, go to SummerSlam.
Yeah, you might. You talk about Cena and Punk. We talked about it multiple times on here. SummerSlam, like it is interesting. How does Punk get over there? So that's kind of the thing. Unless they just randomly go, boom, draft, let's do it, bam. That's how they do it. I think we have Punk tied up in the stuff from Saturday Night Main Event, so that's why I'm not going to have him on the card at all. I think he gets brutally attacked and he gets taken out. So I have him missing Money in the Bank.
Rumors are that he's going to be scheduled for every PLE though, except for the Saudi one.
Well, that is what it is. You can't help vicious attacks.
The brutal attack.
You can't help those.
The brutal attacks happening the Monday before Saudi.
Mm-hmm.
He's being stretchered out with the thumb up.
You can't. I think Saturday Night Main Event is a big thing, and maybe we're just completely missing the boat here. But what I think happens, I think Punk misses it. If it's not, I think he's in some sort of tag match, obviously, at Saturday Night Main Event. I don't think he's in the actual Money in the Bank match. Braun Breaker, though, like I said, that's probably the favorite. That's probably the early favorite, I would say. The writing's kind of on the wall for that one. But just how we kind of felt with, like, last year for the women. It was either Tiffany Stratton or Chelsea Green. Like, either one of those two. Give me one of those two. Naomi was in there as well. But give me either one of those two, and I'll be happy. You give me Braun Breaker, give me Karrion Kross, you give me one of those two, and I'm happy.
I just am praying for Karrion Kross to get a minute of TV time between now and Money in the Bank.
He won on Main Event this week.
Woo! Get in there for Mr. Karrion Kross.
Gotta start somewhere. Gotta start somewhere.
Brick by brick.
It's just one of those things that, like, you look at the numbers and everybody talks about, like, merch sales. Jey Uso, right? Like, you gotta push him sometime, I would think. And in a year that they talk about his contract year coming up, or it is right now, what better way to be like, hey, stick around. You get the Money in the Bank. You get a title shot whenever you want.
The pull and Otis. They'll rip that thing on. He'll be cashing in on freaking New Day by himself. I don't even know. Be insane. Anyway, those were our Money in the Bank match card predictions and winners. Obviously, we'll have official Money in the Bank predictions when that time comes and we get more solidified matches and stuff like that. But Saturday Night Main Event coming up, so we'll have predictions on those as well. Probably Monday because we want to wait for some more matches to be.
Yeah, we could do what we just did here and completely miss on all of it.
All of it. Anyway, follow us on our live streams, youtube.com/COD WrestlePod. We watch Raw, SmackDown, and PLE, so please come join us there. We love to see you guys there. And then for everything else, at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. We have a link tree. It's in our bio. It's got all the links to all of our socials. Please go like, subscribe, follow, share all those because we love you guys and we think that you'll like this type of wrestling content. So I'm Will. That's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. We will see you next time.